When I pick up a drum, I feel possibility. The company Drumawe is geared towards inspiration, education and training through psychology, drumming and art, and it really manages to serve a wide range of needs in South African community and works itself all the way through from training corporate groups to working therapeutically with specific needs and inspiring people with the African experience, international people, and then just offering great recreational opportunities for any kind of party or event where people might want some inspiring, dynamic drumming experience. Experience of drumming on a personal level is really what inspires me to promote it as a tool for a self-development journey. It becomes a space where magic can unfold, and depending on the level of skill that you have and the connectedness that you have with yourself, that I have with myself, I can begin to express what I'm feeling internally into rhythm beats. So after doing my final years of training, I became a psychologist, worked in psychotherapy, and found myself doing a lot of brief-term kind of crisis management work in the psychotherapy work that I was busy with. And my experience there led me to feel quite unsatisfied with the extent to which psychotherapy could really meet the needs of the South African population. I went on a personal journey because of that experience, really discovering my initial intention for wanting to study psychology. And I discovered that I was really interested in inspiring people, and that was the real motivation for wanting to be a psychologist, was to actually see transformation visibly in people's faces.
Because this is why we're doing the drumming today, to really bring about, to birth the leadership quality in each of us, because you are the leader of your drum. Nobody else plays your drum as you play it. Try and get your mind out the way, connect with your heart, connect with the sound in your stomach, connect with the sound around you. This is all part of a project called Women in Leadership Project, and a very inspiring, very exciting contribution from the government and various universities to get women involved in positions of leadership.
Eventually I'll become a doctor, meaning I will probably be a prominent person in my community. So I guess it will help me and empower me to become a leader in my community. So that's why I think it's vital.
I realized that was my major inspiration, was drumming, and why not actually combine this particular style of recreation with a really therapeutic motive, and really focus on the aspect of self-development through learning to play the drum, and also social development through learning to play harmoniously with other people. I've worked with a lot of NGOs in Cape Town. I've worked with Rape Crisis Centre. I've worked with both survivors and counsellors. I've worked with AIDS Action, counsellors working with AIDS. I've worked with the police in Sea Point on 2 occasions. I've worked with various associations related to psychology or to the medical field, like the Hypnotherapy Association, Play Therapists, Association for Counsellors. Also worked a lot with conferences and various international groups that come down to South Africa for a particularly African experience, all the way through to very specific training conferences for neuropsychologists, BMW, Ethicon, different companies.
Layne, who is a sound inspiration expert, and Kim, who's an African drummer from Malawi. Layne was born in Zimbabwe. She grew up in Johannesburg. She's an artist, trainer, and clinical psychologist, and she uniquely blends art, depth, and inspiration. She has a dynamic, creative, and inspiring style of self-development. She specializes in sound psychology, rhythm, drumming, and sacred sound.
In this moment, just close your eyes with the sound. And slowly quieten the sound down to nothing, to silence. Take a breath in and out. This time, know that you're breathing with the whole room. We're connecting ourselves with each other in this moment. Take a breath in.
So very symbolically, drumming becomes an opportunity to really be heard, and inevitably then it will start to create a lot of complex insecurities rising up to the surface of consciousness. So unconsciously one is dealing with that reality that as I play, people are hearing what I'm playing. Is it going to be good enough? Am I going to fail? Am I going to get it right the next time I do it? Oh look, I'm getting it right. I'll probably want to get it right next time. So the critical voice, which is the inner dialogue that we go on quite a lot about in psychology and various spiritual traditions, is very much rife. And of course that's really what the therapeutic benefit of drumming can offer, is an opportunity to really witness that information and to start quietening it down, putting it aside completely eventually, and connecting with the true source of inspiration inside, which is one's own natural rhythm. The power it has in helping you relate with yourself on a much deeper level. And in as far as that relationship develops, so does the relationship with other people.
To see how people connect with themselves through the drum with others in the circle, that has been, I find a really profound experience. At the clinic, Layne was involved in doing groups there, so I did a facilitator's course. I learned to play the drum, learned how to run a group, some techniques that you can use with a drum in the drumming circle. I was really touched with, the vast experience of being involved in the field of drumming and doing a lot of research and work, and it's almost as though it's a commitment. So in that way, I find it an inspiration first of all, because it just makes me trust the process more.
In our next insert, I traveled to Cape Town and found out how a young Greek Cypriot lady is using the drum to heal people, particularly children.
Many drumming workshops with young children, helping them to learn about themselves. The beat of the drums brings the children in tune with the rhythms of nature, and afterwards they feel much more exuberant and powerfully alive.
So rhythm is quite natural, and the drum is really just an external way of expressing that. So we use the idea of rhythm and sound to understand how the body then moves according to vibration. So we use the drumming as a tool. with children, with adults, with all groups of people, but specifically with children to develop skills, motor coordination. It helps them to develop their memory skills, helps them organize information, because to learn a rhythm and to then coordinate it into your hand movements and get your brain to tell your hands what to do and to do it in timing is quite an integrated skill.
Kids seem to need a lot more discipline in the drumming groups, and rules really help them. So for example, I establish rules like no drumming when Helenique is talking or when anybody else is talking. There's a lot of impulsive behavior in children. Children are quite naturally expressive and reactive. So they express themselves a little bit more easily, and that means that they can be tapping on a drum at any given point. They can try out something that you say something, they want to copy it. So rules are quite important for the kids, and really being able to create a contained space for them. I find that it's also very much more needed to give children a chance to express themselves in the group context in a way where it's not damaging. Today was the last of 8 sessions with a group of about 12 children that have been selected from the Col de Toy Hospital, which is really a center that teaches deaf children to speak. All the children have hearing aids, and they were intending to do a music program for them that would help the children learn through rhythm and music. They thought drumming would be a very good tool, and that's where I came into it. All the children have very different capabilities and levels of skills and different ages. It's been quite challenging because we have children with English and Afrikaans as their first language. We also have children that don't have much language because of their challenges, and also children who, for example, African children who don't speak either English or Afrikaans. But I find with drumming and rhythm, it's quite easy to work with those kinds of challenges because there's the sound and the rhythm aspect to things. It really does help them to integrate their senses, and specifically with children that are hard of hearing, they don't really have all the normal immediate tools that other children do to actually express and learn. So those children have been able to respond in ways where maybe they would struggle in other classes which are more language-based. So it was really around trying to get the group to cooperate together and to participate.
Say goodbye, play whatever you want on your drum, and then when you hear me play this song...
Dankie,
Dankie. Speel is lekker. Plesier hoor. Het jy ook die dromme geniet, baba skat? Stay well, nee? I like to facilitate with the idea that I am facilitating you into a beautiful, ordered, rhythmical experience, that each one of you has your own authority and your own power to express. So I'm not a teacher. I don't want you to do it like me. Do it the way you like to do it, and the drum itself will teach you how to play. On your drum. Brilliant.
So as a therapeutic tool, it has wonderful benefits. It's working on a social level, as I've just mentioned, to build community and build relationship in a context like South Africa where we really need that. It's a great stress relief. It's brilliant as a training tool for organizations to learn how to connect with each other more deeply, in a more real way, to also break the ice between people that don't know each other. But on a physical level, it's massaging the whole spinal column. It's bringing the nervous system into alignment. It's also been discovered recently that it can boost immune system functioning. It's also exercises great posture. Drumming masters call it an upper body cardiovascular workout, and they have great chests with great muscles when they play their drums, and it's really moving the hands above the heart, so there's a great workout that's happening. And it also helps to move the energy through the body from the floor up into the hips and up through the spinal column and out through the top of the head, which for a lot of Eastern mystic traditions is a very symbolic journey of energy moving into consciousness.
People
had traumatic experiences in the body becomes an unsafe place to be. And there's a split between the mind and body. So how do you heal that? How do you resolve that?
It's being discovered that after 20 minutes of rhythmic, consistent drumming, one can reach a state of the awakened mind. There is the idea that the right and the left hemispheres fire up differently, and after a certain production of rhythm for a certain amount of time, one massages those areas of the brain so far into a balanced state that you reach what we call hemispheric synchrony. So if we're able to exercise the brain to a point where it can stay in that state of consciousness for periods of time, the benefits are enormous. It helps us to connect with each other, helps us to connect deeply with ourselves, to reach the deepest state of truth within ourselves, and to be really creative about solving our problems, dealing with our emotions, and centering ourselves. Africa happens to be one of the most pervasive drumming continents on the planet. And then various healing ceremonies that are attached to the drumming as well. That's also quite unique in the African context.
The drum has always been used, I think, to connect to the spirit world, and specifically in Africa to really bring about the ancestral ambiance, to bring about the ancestors, call them into the space, and then use the support of that collective, or that higher power, to really assist the community.
In southern Africa, we have the Zulu group who use drumming as a very strong background for the dancing rituals and the ceremonies that happen. So it really is a very beautiful symbolic and literal connection to rhythm and Africa. There are many other countries that have used drumming. It's very universal. So for centuries people have used the drum in India, in Ireland, in Greece.
Έτσι, άμα θέλεις εσύ να διαλέξεις ένα ήχο, πας στο drum να παίξεις το όνομα σου, θα διαλέξεις τώρα Ελλάδα, ωραία. Θα παίξει η ΟΛΑΔ η Ελλάδα. Το πουμ πουμ τάκα.
And really we need a way to connect people up. We need a way to go beyond language, beyond culture, beyond fear, beyond the past, and really step into the space of possibility and the space of connectedness and true relationship with people. We need to learn to play in the world. We've all become so serious, and life is really demanding. In the modern Western world, there's a lot of challenges, and just being able to be in the spirit of play and to just be in the moment is the greatest gift that the drum can really offer. you.